Hello, 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 and welcome to Getting Real with Paula. This week, we are speaking with Sandy Duperval, and the timing could not be any more perfect because she just released her new single, Runaway, whose lyrics are about not fitting in. So tonight we are talking about standing strong in your own identity, regardless of other people's opinion. So, good evening, Sandy.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
How so nice to have you here too. Gorgeous as usual, and we
Thank,
love the background. Yeah, we're talking
thank
about
you.
everything at the same time.
Thank you.
So, what am I going to say? Where do we start? Where do we start? Could you tell us a little bit about you, which is who you are, what you do, and how long have you been in the music industry? And details, details.
Wow, wow, wow. Where do I start? I first started, I did my first show at a show called Passepartout when I was 3 years old. So I haven't stopped since. It's been 35 years. And I started as a gospel singer. My grandmother took me to church almost every day. I was in gospel choirs for up until my 20s. I had my first album, I was 12. I studied, I actually did my second album, but it didn't get released. And I worked with CC Houston at the time. I was about 13, 14 years old. And I went to school at Sherbrooke College into jazz music. So I studied jazz music and then moved on to doing Star Academy. After Star Academy in 2004, I went and traveled the world with my music. I became a DJ. Little did I know, becoming a DJ probably is the reason why I kept going. Because as you may know, the music industry is not an easy industry to evolve in. But if it wasn't for my DJ career, I don't know if I would have continued. So I've been pretty much DJing and singing for the past 16 years, and I love it like it's the first time. So I think what DJing did for me is it allowed me to expand my horizon and expand my knowledge. And the more I got to connect with music, the more I wanted to keep going. And now I just feel like a renewed energy.
Ha! And this is the beauty about what you say, the renewed energy. It's about finding your voice, finding your passion.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and what your earliest memory of singing was?
Wow. To be honest, my relationship with music is bittersweet in the sense that so my mom had me, she was pregnant, she was 15. And then her relationship with my grandma was kind of on and off. I started singing because I used to watch this show called Star Search. And I remember being like, one day I'm going to be on Star Search and my parents are going to come back and get me. And yeah, and then I ended up just singing, thinking, if I was good enough at some point, they'd come back. And then it didn't exactly do that for me, but it shaped who I am. And my grandmother first saw me singing, just looking at Star Search and just like lip singing with the comb in my hand and just being like, oh my God, one day I'm going to be on this show. Um, and then I ended up really falling in love with the way it allowed me to express myself. Um, I even thought at some point that I could make the rain stop. Like I would sing for hours on end. I would be on the porch, just with the comb in my hand, just singing while it rains until it stopped, and run back inside the house and tell my grandma, look, I made the rain stop. Um, so it really became this thing where music made me believe in some sort of like power.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then singing at church, it became even more powerful because, you know, I look back at some videos and I think to myself, but who made me believe I could sing? Because I really think it was horrible. But it was powerful because it literally saved my life in so many ways. And for me, it made me bond with my grandmother in ways that I I think the fact that we spent so many hours either going to church, either practicing, and I saw the sacrifices she's made to put me in vocal classes, piano classes. She literally had three jobs. She would go work at McGill. At that time, it was Royal Vic, and then come back home and work in her night shift at another company and bring me to my nanny at 4 a.m. and then go back to work. So I saw all these sacrifices. But music is the link between all of that, all of the between the tragedy and the love. And it's just and it's still that for me today.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna go into tragedy right now, but I want to go back. Yeah, no, because you drop a little piece, and I might know about that piece, but not everybody understand what that piece is. But
Yeah.
I want to go back first to the comments you've made about Star Academy. I
Yeah.
think that was in early 2000
Yeah.
that you were
2004.
2004.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Oh my God, it was intense. It was intense in so many ways. At the time, I didn't know what the term intersectionality meant. But when I look back, knowing the definition now, it was hard because I was the only Black person on the show. It was hard because at the time I was still a gospel singer, but I was also coming out or coming in facing myself because I remember that one time I was already going in the gay village. I already had a lot of gay friends. I was kind of dipping my toe in the water, but I was in the closet. Nobody knew about me. Like, obviously, people always talk, but nobody knew I was actually trying to get to know who I was. So at the time, what they showed on TV, it was really, it truly who I was, like this gospel singer, really close to my grandmother. Um, but I also had, some would say, a double life. I used to work right before Star Academy. I used to work at this place called Le Café Européen on St. Catherine in Montreal. And my boss at the time went to see the production and told them I was a lesbian. And I remember like the production company just they didn't know what to do with that. We just sold you as this gospel singer. What are we gonna do now? And I remember this one show. I was in danger. So in danger is like you have to sing for your life or for your stay at the academy.
Mhm.
And my grandmother, they showed all the people voting for me, and my grandmother was at this place called drugstore in Montreal, which is right in the thick in the middle of the gay village. And all I see is my grandma with all my gay friends, and I am freaking out because I'm like, wow, who told her? I remember going to my best friend after the show and being like, did you tell her? Like being like, who told her? Um, but nobody told her. My grandmother, well, if there is anyone in my whole life besides God who's known me better than myself, it's pretty much my
Mhm.
grandmother. But I remember me being torn. How do I act? What do I do? Does that mean she knows? Do I have to come out? What's going on? So the battle was hard because it was external and internal.
Mhm.
And how do I manage that? Because I still have to wear all of the hats. I'm still Sandy Duperval. I'm still a gospel singer, and I'm still a lesbian, and I'm still Black, and I'm still a woman. Like, and I have to find
Mhm.
the link between all of these
All
things
of
and
this.
how, yeah, how do I manage? um and how do I manage dealing with acceptance, not just from my grandma, from everything we've known, and from
Mm-hmm.
myself, because at this point I have to complain, or I have to just fake it. And that was the beginning of coming out for me officially.
Officially, because that was the first time he went public. And now it's the part where I'm no longer pretending in front of my grandma. And let's just say, reality being, if your grandma was really into church and all of those things,
Yeah.
how do they react? How do they? Because in sometimes in our cultures, we tend to ignore what we do not want to see, so we do not acknowledge out loud, even though we know, but it's actually
Hmm.
we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So was it something once that came out, and once you came out this way on Star Academy, was it something that you could speak about finally?
Actually, I didn't. um
Okay.
it still took a couple years, if not 5 years, for me to eventually come clean with myself. That was the beginning of, like you said, in our cultures, we don't really address the elephant in the room. It's almost like if we address it, we have to feed it. So i I just felt like, we went baby steps. It was baby steps for me, because now I have to make peace with everything I've known about church, everything I've known about Bible teaching. You know, well, being gay is a sin, and I'm going to hell. But I remember having this reflection. I said to myself, I would rather go to hell for who I am than going to hell for who I pretend to be. And I would much prefer wasting away my life, if I need to, than wasting a life with someone else and pretending and having affairs, and just, I want to be embraced for who I am. I don't want to I didn't want to go to church and just act away and then come out of church and be someone else. God sees me all the time. So at the end of the day, it was really just baby steps. I wasn't going to confront my grandmother, but I was also I was kind of relieved that she was open. She was open. She was hanging out with friends that, under other circumstances, she'd probably shut the door on them, because that's what
Mhm.
church people have done.
Mhm.
So for me, it was really just a matter of choosing my battles, but choosing to fight with not make believe armor, but a real, that the true person that I am.
Which is huge,
Yeah.
because if I'm not mistaken, when that took place, you were barely in your 20s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So barely in your 20s, and I'm still trying to see what am I gonna be? Who am I gonna be as a grown up? And also, then it feels like my all of my gut and intestines are all out there for people to see.
Oh yeah, it was hard. It was hard from all the perspectives. It was hard for my career. I mean, we if anyone's followed Whitney Houston's story, and if you've watched the documentary, you know that the dilemma had something to do with homophobia. How do you deal with being gay in the late 90s, early 2000s in the industry? Was an absolute no. For women, it's like, you could be bisexual, you could be open, you could be like free, and you could be like Madonna, but being truly gay was not something that, it was still taboo. It was not something that you could openly talk about. In fact, in my generation of singers I looked up to, they were all underground artists. There was no one on TV besides Ellen that I could relate to. So it was hard, because I had no reference. And then I had to be an artist. How can I be a gay artist? How can I be a black gay artist? How can I be a female and then in my life, in I had to, it's almost like I was put on reset, because
Mm-hmm.
I lost friends, I lost people that I thought cared for me. And yeah, it was a full reset, but I was
But
still the same person.
yeah, but then at the same time, the cost of hiding who you are is not an easy one, an easy journey to travel. Because trust me, I might not be gay, but I understand this part about not fitting in,
Hmm.
because sometimes you're in environments, you're with some crowds, you're in some workspace, and it just you just know these
Hmm.
are not my people. If they knew everything about me, they would not be there for me. So there's that sense of, at least for me, the hiding part
Hmm.
must be so very heavy.
Oh, it's a lonely place to be, but it's also lonely to be surrounded by people who don't really see you, because
Mhm,
you can't show them who you are.
mhm,
You don't want to be looked down upon. It's like I always felt like I had to prove something. And I guess therapy did that for me, where it showed me my patterns. As a child, I wanted to prove myself. As a teenager, I wanted to prove myself. As an artist, I wanted to prove myself. It's like I spent my whole life looking to be worthy when my value is defined the minute I'm born. So it took a long time and a lot of work for me to be like standing in my truth and owning it,
mhm,
and understanding that it's okay if I don't need to fit in everywhere. The world is
mhm.
large enough for me to find my safe space.
And by saying this, I'm hearing that you have found some spaces that felt safer for you.
Absolutely. When I finished Star Academy, I went and lived in France. I'm in Montpellier, and I also lived in Germany. And I met some friends there who didn't know me at all, and
Mhm,
suddenly I could introduce myself in all my truth, in who I was. And that was the beginning of, um I remember going to a club there and falling in love with house music because of how empowering it was, how free it was. The first song I heard was Barbara Tucker. It's called Most Precious Love. And it talks about God and it talks about self love. Um, it's like the singer says, I found love inside of me. And
mhm,
that was it. That was also when I found my voice as an artist. That was when I found my voice as a human being. And when I came back, I continued my DJ career, and I was a DJ at Unity nightclub, iconic nightclub in Montreal, which is it was originally a straight club, and then it became a gay club, and then it went back and forth. But in all, it was a club where people could come in and be
mhm,
themselves. And I remember playing this song in my sets and just being like walking in a path where I don't feel lost anymore.
mhm,
So for me, having this opportunity, finding a platform where I could, like Pride Montreal, where I could connect with people like me who have similar stories or completely different ones, who are marginalized and
mhm.
excluded. But when we come together, we understand each
Good.
other, we see each other, we know we're only human, we're all trying to figure ourselves out. I
Mhm,
found the tools. It's funny, I became the ambassador and I became the spokesperson, but I wouldn't be half the person I am without the organization, without the people I met. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being
mhm.
real. Yeah,
And embracing the fact that you don't have to be like everybody else in order to be worthy of breathing on this
absolutely,
earth. And that's
absolutely.
sometimes that's the part where, because of all the inbreeding, all the questioning, all of the journey forward, I see you now and I see a much happier person. Does that mean that there's never any challenges? No. We still go through life. We still go through life.
Absolutely.
If I was to
The,
ask,
mhm.
as a female artist performing across the world, because as a DJ, I know you've been to Turk and Caicos, you've been to Asia, you've been to so many different locations. What boundaries have you implemented in your personal and professional life in order to make space for you?
I had never thought about the setting boundaries until I faced misogyny. And I was like baffled. I remember they were putting the stage together, and one of the tech, he didn't like the stage was basically unsafe, especially that there was going to be dancers. And I remember telling the tech, there's there's a missing screw under the stage. If you could look it up, that'd be greatly appreciated, because there's going to be dancers. And I remember the owner of the venue came up to me and he said, "You can't talk to a man like that." And I'm just like, um, what? And he said, "Yeah, you can't talk to a man like that." And I said, "Well, I was just telling him that there's a missing screw." And I remember being like, wow. And I've spun in countries like Dubai and Morocco and Lebanon, and that was in none of these countries. That was in a place where I thought equality and equity and all these things were promoted, and peace
Mm-hmm,
and love. And then suddenly I was told that as a woman I wasn't allowed to make
mm-hmm,
sure that my working environment was safe. And that's when I started setting boundaries and putting things in contract. And now I just know how to work with people. I have my manager calling them and handling these things. I think my grandma used to be my my gatekeeper, and now it's my manager. And so anytime there are things that I feel unsafe with, or I feel like I'm in a space where I'm not welcomed, I have him handle it. But always politely, always in a way. I don't believe in being aggressive. I don't believe in violence. I get hate messages and I'm just like, okay, boo, like at the end of the day, hatred isn't my poison. So you do you. I go about my life. God is blessing
mm-hmm.
me, so I can't complain and I can't dwell on things.
Because there's never any way to please everyone. So
Absolutely.
once we figure that out, there's certain, as you say, certain battles. This one's not on me.
Nope.
I'll just let you deal with it.
We good.
You're good. If you as a public personality, because let's just say once you're DJing all over the place, when you're associated with an organization like Montreal Pride, uh, there are some elements that will rise into the various conversation. What are some of the values you hold dear in your heart?
I hope people can see me as a perfectly imperfect person who just wants to grow. And in order to grow, I need to be honest, and I need to
Mm-hmm,
be I need to have my flaws. I need to face, you can only
mm-hmm,
find the solutions to the problems you face. I hope people can see me grow and they can know it's not about the destination. It truly is about the process. It's about all those
mm-hmm,
tools that you get on the road, and hopefully you pass them on to another generation or to other people around you. One thing for sure, I've learned, we all have an expiry date. That was the
mm-hmm.
only guarantee. The minute you're born, you have an expiry date, right? So, and when you leave with nothing. All of these beautiful things, even my background, I don't get to leave with that. But what I am able to show is I'm a human being who's had a lot of shortcomings. I've had a lot of I made a lot of mistakes. I have had a lot of tragedies, but I was blessed. I grew from my mistakes. I'm still learning. I still long for more. I mean, I used to hate reading, and now I can't help but to pick up a book before bedtime. Um, I'm changing constantly, for better or worse, but I'm able to see myself in my true identity. So if there's anything I want people to take away is my journey as a human being is growth and
Yeah.
self-love. Yeah.
I love growth and self-love because those are things we always take for granted
Hmm.
until you realize they're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah.
it's just like, huh? There are some people you see and you're thinking, I've seen you 20 years ago and you haven't moved at all. And
And
we're not
yeah,
talking houses, we're talking individual perspective and
yeah,
self development.
yeah.
So I know you, I know because you've told me that you have had to face homophobia
Hmm.
and sometimes bullying.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So how do you deal with that?
Oi. Um I mean, on a good day, I ignore it. On a day where I'm fed up, I say something. I speak up for myself. Um, I think my background as a Black woman has given me resilience and courage and bravery. I'm not scared. Sometimes I have time and sometimes I don't.
Mhm,
I'm not afraid of homophobia. If you're not gonna like me for who I am, fair enough. That's on you. But if I was to be faking a life to please other people and then face hatred, because there's still gonna be people who don't like you,
mhm,
whether you have this perfect life, and if even if I was married with kids, there would be enemies
mhm,
are around us all. Bad energy is around us all. Sometimes it's weighed on me, and I know that it's affected people. Some people have committed suicide. um Artists especially, we tend to be vulnerable because of what we do. We tend to be, because you're at the forefront, you try to share something that's dear to you, but it also makes you an easy
mhm,
target. um but I know that behind the person who spews a hatred is someone with sensitivities too, another human being, maybe going through some of their own
mhm,
battles, and they're just lashing out at other people to feel good about themselves or whatever it is. Like I said earlier, that's their poison. If
mhm,
I allow it in my soul, in my being, in my energy, it's going to poison me as well, and then I'm missing out on my life. I'm too blessed to allow that. Um, I believe that the remedy to hatred is love, kindness, empathy, compassion, and I try to give that. Even in my worst days, I try to challenge that person. Someone may disagree with me and they might come off really aggressive. I will challenge them. Someone might challenge me because I was wrong. And guess what? I'm able to reflect, to and then listen and try to understand and see their angle. I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in being aggressive. I don't believe, putting fuel on the fire is just going to make
mhm,
more fire. But I believe that love is truly the water to this. It does make it makes a whole difference. If I come to you with this energy of knowing and standing my ground, no matter how much hatred you have inside you, I'm still standing. So I'm not afraid. I've had people from church literally cross the street when they see me, and that's okay. I'm still here. I'm still
mhm.
blessed. I'm still blessed and highly favored. I'm in my truth. And the only
Mhm.
person and the only being I have to answer to is God. And other than that, it's not my battle. They're fighting their own. They're not happy with my life, but it's still mine.
Mhm.
So,
And
no, I'm good. I think it took years. It took years of understanding that this was completely out of my hands. So it shouldn't get into my heart.
I love that. It's completely out of my hands, but it shouldn't get into my heart. That's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because especially during the pandemic, but also it existed before. People get tend to get a little braver online because in their mind nobody's gonna know, nobody's gonna catch me, and all of my buddies will follow me, but nobody knows who's really in your corner. But
Yeah.
it's this part where as a public personality, that's always something that you have to pay
Uh,
attention to, because as
yes.
you say, there they're running their own show, they're running their own battles, and sometimes they picked you that day as an artist,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that it's let's just say that no, they would dare doing the same when they're face to you, because face to face
Yeah.
with you. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes it feels like courage after a few drinks in front of my computer and my
Mhm.
TV is what we call liquid courage, and then it does leave a stain on your art. Because I am not for by any stretch uh, considered a public personality, but every now and then some people just have to let you know that something you do is not good enough for them or good making them happy, and you're like, okay, you can choose to flip channel, turn the other way, you don't
Yeah.
have to. But it's this sense where there's a sense of entitlement when we're talking online,
Absolutely.
and that comes at a price for any person. And nowadays that we're almost operating on social media for almost everything, anybody feels stronger behind the screen,
Oh,
but it feels like out of reach. But is there a reason
yeah.
for that?
Ah, to be honest, it's something that I'm actually a big advocate for. Is I think governments, just like we have authorities on the street, there should be authorities online, because it's not okay. My social media is like I'm allowing you into my house, and then you want to start a kerfuffle, like they say. I'm i'm not okay with that. I
Mhm.
usually block these people. I may say something, but of course, like you said, it's the liquid courage, or
Mhm.
just, to me, it is ironic though, because if you don't like something, and if you don't, I don't know, if you hate someone, you're spending an awful lot of energy and time letting them know. Like, don't you have better things to do? It's
I
always
know.
that. It's always like, oh well, thank you for your attention. But I also feel bad because I'm busy enough not to purposefully spend time online just being like, well, let me, who else am I going to go bully? And I find that the most violent type of hatred online is the racist one. It's like, I got a message when I was releasing the single, and it said, "You monkey, go back to your coconut tree." And I was like, well, first of all, monkeys don't really live on coconut trees. I mean, that's just knowledge, but um, it was just like, so you went out of your way, out of your precious life. That is
Precious day.
really, yeah, I know, it's by the second. God is like, it's going to tell me this. And I bet they thought about it, and they put a whole bunch of emojis, and I was like, emojis, I mean, I don't know about you, but I find emojis are really a hustle. Like, finding the right emoji every time is like, oh my God, I'm just gonna put a heart, right? And so when people are going out of their way and putting all these emojis, I'm like, wow, man, thank you for your time and energy. But while you're at it, go listen to my song. So I'm really, at this point, I find it funny. But for someone who is I was a hypersensitive for most of my life. I still am. The difference is I don't let anyone in enough to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's funny. Someone uh, at church sends me a hate message, and this person is a very well-known singer, and I honestly think he's playing on my team. But anyway, I'm just like telling me about, my lifestyle or the choices I'm making, or it's like he really disapproves of me being a lesbian. I'm just like, you need to come out,
And,
you know?
and I'm thinking, and what business is it of yours? And how is that changing your everyday life? It's just like,
But this
let
person's
me
been,
be.
the funny thing is, this person's been bullying me since I was a kid. When I
Oh,
was a child, I was maybe 8, 9 years old. I couldn't be in the kids choir because apparently I was too old, and then I couldn't be in the teenagers choir because I was too young, and then I had to switch church. And I remember my first album was called El Shaddai, and he used to call it El Shaddai. So this guy is literally living his life to try
following
to
you.
make, yeah. And I'm like, I boo. By the way, you can check out my new song. So yeah, at this point, it's really just funny. Ugh,
Because
yeah,
it's on them, and I think I love the way you're reacting, and I'm sure it has taken quite a few hits before you get to the point where it's just like slide off my back. But it's
yeah,
this sense where, okay, I have to figure out what is more worthy, what
yeah,
I think of me or what other people think of me. My worth is not determined by your opinion. It's
absolutely
about
not.
self-love. Can I live the life where I feel that I am worthy, and not just worthy as an individual, but also lovable as an
Hmm.
individual. It doesn't have to come from you. So if not you, I'm sure there'll be other people, and I get to pick who I want to associate with, regardless of your intrusion into my
Yeah,
journey. Yeah.
and honestly, I have to say that my I find strength in the fact that I get love messages literally every day. People saying, who support me, people who've been my day ones, people I've met maybe once, people I've might have never met, who like my music, who support and go listen and ask me when I'm going to release something else, and so these little voices of hatred are like just wind into my
Hmm.
life. They're just like, oh, look at this breeze, let me put a jacket on. At the end of the day, it really is it's not enough for me to forget how blessed I am.
Yeah. And that's the most important thing, is that you have come at this point in your journey where you know
Mhm.
deep down in your bones, deep down in your heart, I am blessed.
Yeah.
God over there is making a path for me, regardless of other people's opinion. And that
Hmm.
is good. In the end, I care about him a lot more than I care about all other people's opinion.
Absolutely. My creator knew me before he created me. At the end of the day, he knows my heart, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, how can people?
Oh, I'm still here. Just give
Ooh,
me a second.
no problem. Technology.
Yes, sorry about that.
No
It's gonna come
problem.
back soon. Yeah.
How can people get in contact with you or hear about your future activities?
At the moment, I would say stay in touch with me on Facebook, on Instagram.
Instagram?
These are the
Mm-hmm.
these are the two platforms I go on the most. Um, My website is getting updated. It's getting a nice do-over, a much needed do-over, and I'm releasing more music. I think the pandemic really blessed me. It's such a blessing in disguise. It really is giving me tools. It's giving me the time to create, and now I'm ready. I
Okay.
feel ready. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So while you're trying to figure out what the camera is taking is doing a number on you, because that beautiful face of yours is way better than the black screen. What
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna
it's good.
do is we're
All
gonna play
right.
your video, your new single,
Oh,
and I'm
yay.
gonna say goodbye now, and we'll ease the audience into that new single of yours. So it's
Thank
been
you
a
so
pleasure
much.
chatting with you.
Thank you so much for being such a beautiful platform for people like me to come and be real with Paula. Yes. Thank you so
That's
much.
what I want. My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. So, to my audience out there, stay tuned because the video is gonna play. And as I said, fitting in is not in our plan. So,
No,
whoever's not happy about that, move to the
absolutely not.
side.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Hey. Fitting in where I don't belong was never part of my plan. Been there, done that. Time to move on. My head up for all that I am. I need to run away, 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 run. Yeah. Ah, good vibes, good vibes, good vibes only. The best things in life for free. Don't you tell me what I can do. I won't change my colors for you. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors for you. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors for you. I need to run away, run away, run away, run away. I need to run away, run away, run away, run. Yes, vibes. Now listen. Fitting in where I don't belong was never part of the plan. In the end, I followed my heart. I do it all over, yeah. Oh, yeah, I need to run away, run away, run away, run away. I need run away, run away, run away, run away. Oh, I need to run away. Oh, I need to run away. Oh, I need to run away. Oh, I need, hey, fitting in where I don't belong. It was never part of my plans. I've been there, done that. Time to move on. My head up for everything that I am. I need to run, 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 to run away. I need to run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. Run, 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 I need to run away. Yes!
Je pense pas qu'on peut leur faire plus.
Non, oublie ça, là.
C'est tellement spontané, c'est tellement chill, là. Yeah.
Yes, okay, good. We're good. This one's done.
J'ai essayé d'aller salsa à la fin. Plus genre samba, là.
Oh, wait, continue. Just when you thought it was over. Run. Man, I could use a vacation right about now. I need to run, run, run. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. I need to run away. Need to run away. I need to run away. Now. Good vibes, good vibes, good vibes only. The best things in life are free. Don't you tell me what I can do. I won't change my colors for you. Yeah, I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors for you. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors. I won't change my colors for you.